Hey, all you Arizona lovers. This is the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose.
And I'm your producer, Brittany.
And here at Finding Arizona podcast, we collect the local stories of all entrepreneurs and from around the valley. So join us at findingarizonapodcast.com, where you can hear every episode and see it as well at
YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment below who you want to see next on our show. And when you're ready to start your podcast, you found the right spot. Found House, your next podcast production company.
Now, let's get back to the show. Score big with SeatGeek. Whether it's concerts, sports, or live events, SeatGeek has you covered. Use code FindingArizona to get a fantastic $20 discount on your SeatGeek tickets. Catch your favorite live events hassle-free with extra savings. Visit SeatGeek.com and make every experience unforgettable. Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose, and as always, we bring in fantastic guests every week. If you don't know this face by now, I want you to go on Instagram, look up Mr. AZ Sports or Mr. Sports AZ?
Mr. AZ Sports.
Mr. AZ Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nathan.
You actually said it right. It's my biggest pet peeve. Everyone always either says Mr. Arizona.
Hey, I'm trying my best
guy.
to make sure that it's clarity because, again, I state that this man has not only changed what I perceive to be fandom in sports.
No, I appreciate that.
But also the fact is you're someone like myself who considers everybody in this valley to be somewhat of a storyteller, and you're trying to track down really great spots.
Oh, yeah.
Food related.
That's my favorite part.
Food related. But on top of that, I imagine that you're just a rabid, passionate fan. And the way I know that is one of the first things that came across when I jumped into your social media and you did the KD spot.
Yeah.
And the fact that you not only had a pivot question was like, he hit you with the, I eat at my house.
Yeah.
And the fact that you came back with the edit and it's the best editing. It was like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he's got a private chef. No wonder he loves eating at home.
Yeah, so I've learned with my food series where I'm asked people famous places where they eat.
Yeah.
I learned a few things with it. So as always, if you're on social media, you have to learn how to adapt.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
What works today is not going to probably work tomorrow because some algorithm guy and some random desk changes one code and it messes everything up.
Yeah.
So social media is a love-hate relationship with that. And I've just learned, but also interviewing people is the same thing. I could ask somebody and they could reject me. They gave me the same restaurant. So it was actually, that question came from a pivot from, I got about 6 people who said Steak 44 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be able to make content.
Yeah.
I can only go to Steak 44 once, make a video, and maybe every 6 months I can do that. So I was like, okay, they say Steak 44. How do I pivot? Okay, maybe I start asking people, what's your favorite food?
Mm-hmm.
And then say, where do you like to get that?
Yeah.
And pivot. So KD, his best friend's on Twitter, so I DM'd him, and he kind of gave me a heads up. He's like, he doesn't eat out. Same thing with Book.
Yeah.
Devin Booker doesn't eat out, so when I get Book, I'm going to have a pivot question for that too. Yeah. But I knew KD loved Hooters, and when I asked him his Hooters, it was hilarious. He smiled.
Laughing. You could tell. He had that smirk and the smile on his face where he's like, this guy knows his stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit.
That was a cool moment because I think KD even was like, okay, touche. Respect because if you don't follow Arizona sports, you don't know that KD and Book love Hooters. They talk about it all the time, or they used to talk about it all the time. And one of Book's favorite meme, or my favorite memes about Book is going to Hooters with the fellas. Which I was actually surprised that Hooters, I went, and it was actually pretty good.
No,
I was surprised.
You'd be surprised at some of the spots that you'll find really decent quality food that are just run-of-the-mill places.
100%.
Yeah.
I was very shocked. I was like, okay. I understand why they used to come here. Yeah. And it wasn't bad. It was like $15 for buffalo shrimp. I was like, okay.
That's
touche.
Comparative to Steak 44, Buck and Rider.
Wait till this week.
Rob Room.
We're going to, next Thursday, we're doing a Cafe Monarch.
Okay, yeah.
We're doing the 8-course meal. It's like $500. I think we have a friend who's very generous, and I took him out to dinner, so I can't I even told him at dinner, I was like, I can't pay you back for everything you do in my life. So I'll take you to like brand deals I have. So I took him out to a very nice Italian restaurant.
Oh, great.
And they brought us probably 10 dishes last night. He's like, is this how it is when you go out to usually? I'm like, yeah, restaurants just feed me like crazy. Yeah. I'm kind of
I can imagine that, especially in the food industry, they like see you walk up. Because we got a personal friend, not that we share him, but the fact that we have a personal friend, he has a podcast that's the Taste of AZ. It's Eric Walters out of Taste of AZ. But anyways, he gets a chance to, he gets us involved in the food industry.
Is that different of that Taste of AZ Instagram account?
Yeah, it's no, they're the same.
I thought it was a girl who runs it.
So they have a crew. So so there probably is a girl, but the host, there's two hosts technically. Eric used to run basically a brewing podcast, and so he transformed that into the food industry and brought in some team members. And
there is a girl called Tastes.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking of.
A taste of AZ.
This is why I need a producer.
I respect both of them because they both have made their own way.
Yes.
I would be livid if somebody goes like Mr. Arizona Sports or something like goes. Well, I'll be livid because at this point I've claimed that name. Like, so like I just respect what they've done, but I'm like, there's just too much conflict there is.
There's a lot of crossover. And I mean, so we're going on a very different dialogue because I respect you and I like you a lot. And just the fact that I have so many points of like my own ideas for about the food industry or about just overall what's going on in Arizona, that I forgot to ask you the critical question is like, you brought up a little bit about how all this came to be. I would love to kind of go a little bit more in depth of your origin story, because I know offhand that you started it because you were such a rabid fan, but you also, again, we talked about this off air, it was a considerable point not to go down the route of internship and like trying to do it slow. You wanted to change for yourself the opportunities that what someone would try and do to get into sports and sports entertainment. Yeah. So
I love sports. So my story in life is probably different than most people. I went to college later. I have learning disabilities. I'm dyslexic. I have a speech impediment.
Okay.
So that's why it's always funny. I get comments all the time on Reddit. Mr. AZ Sports can't pronounce this word. He always pronounces this word wrong. And I'm just saying, guys, like, that's just who I am. Like, I just laugh at this point because people don't know my story. So I went to college later. I graduated college when I was like 28. Mm-hmm. And I got a job at Allstate, which I love. I've been there since. I actually moved to their sister company. But a few years ago, I was sitting there like, I was sitting there. I was doing a lot of things at church, but I just like had this urge on my life to start doing stuff in sports.
Yeah.
Because something I've learned is the most successful people at anything are the people who won't do it for money or just passionate about it.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always had, is passion about Arizona sports. So I was like, I'm going to just start making content. It was I made my video about 15 months ago, give or take.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it was before the year mark. And it was when Luka kicked out a Suns fan from a Mavericks Suns game in Dallas.
I remember that.
And he can't forget why he kicked him out. And I made a video saying, Luka, you a hoe. Basically off Lil Wayne stuff. It was like, or I said, Luka, you a baby, and quoted like Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And I had like no followers. And it did like 10,000. I was like, okay.
That's fine.
I might be onto something here. And then I was like, okay, what do I want to do? I was like, I want to really, really work in sports. Mm-hmm. So I made some videos, was trying out things. I was trying the hot take thing. I was trying rage bait. I was trying all these things. And so it's like, I was getting success, some failures. And then I had a Dave Portnoy food video pop off. Mm-hmm. It did like 200,000. I was like,
Is that the Gilbert one?
No, it was one of Trevor's pizza. I woke up one day and it was just overnight, did like literally 200,000 or 100,000 in like 12 hours. I was like, what the heck? So I was like, okay, something about food brings people together, I've learned. So then I was sitting there at home, and it was last March, I was talking to all my friends, like, I'm going to go to every sporting event for a year. And everyone's like, that's stupid. And then about 3 months later, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm done listening to people because everyone says it's dumb. I was like, I want to break into sports. How do you break into sports? You break into sports two ways. Take an internship, go work for free, you build your own platform. And a lot of these guys, what they do is they start a show and they try to build a show up first. And it's like, that can work.
Yeah.
We've seen it a lot.
Yeah. Barstool.
But a lot of those success stories of Barstool are like lightning in the bottle, like Call Her Daddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're just it takes years, or you just got to strike lightning in the bottle. I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work. So then I was at home and I was going through my feed, and every day this guy popped up of eating Chipotle for 1,000 days. Or for, was it 1,000 days or 365 days?
Oh, there's a bunch of them, but I imagine a lot of them have to do like for a full year just to kind of show consistency.
I think this guy he was going for a Chipotle for 1,000 days in a row. And he was on like 900 days, and he had like 3 million followers. I'm like, okay, if this stupid idea could go viral, there's got to be a viral.
There's got to be a way.
There's got to be something in Arizona I can go viral and start to build a platform slowly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to go to every game. So I put the tweet out, and right away the tweet already was on 98.7 the next day. Wow. I was like, okay, might be on something. So like game 3, I'm like, I got to think of an idea here to like bring people into it to make a name for myself. Okay, I'm going to take a rotisserie chicken in. It's 110 degrees outside. I'm going to sneak it in. So I'm outside the D-backs game, taping it to my stomach. I put 2 hoodies on, and it's 110 degrees outside. And I'm like, I think someone's going to call the police on me. I probably look like a terrorist right now. I was like, this isn't going to work. Then I Googled D-backs outside food and drink, and I was like, oh, you can bring food in. This is going to go crazy. So I took the chicken in, posted it on the internet, did like crazy views. And I'm like, okay. I was like, for next year, I'm going to go to all these games and just do something with food.
Yeah.
And then it really did well for a year. And then things, obviously, as always, things die down, things change. But after the full year, I just kept doing that. I kept growing a platform, and just kept getting recognized. And now it's like, I'm starting to do some other media stuff, whether it's like my own show. I'd love to start doing stuff like that, but I just got to figure out. One of those things, you got to figure it out and make sure you do it right. And I just haven't figured out exactly what avenue I want to go to.
Yeah.
But like, I would love to do something at the news or something in sports media. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And how much things change these days. I just don't want to be like, I just don't know if radio is necessarily the future.
Yeah.
Like, I think radio can be done right. You just have to incorporate a lot of digital media if you're going to do radio. And I just don't know. So it's just like, I'm just trying to figure it out for now. It's like, continue to grow my brand and then take it a step further from there.
Yeah. I was just listening to a dialogue or a conversation and I think it was Seth Rogen, honestly, because he got to a point where he's like, look, I'm at the point now where I am thinking about the exact things that I enjoy doing.
Exactly.
Which is, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, but I also look at it as like, what are the things I don't want to do? Do I, again, it's like, do I want to be a radio host? What does that mean? What does that entail? Do I love everything about radio hosting and all of that things that go along with it that allow me to like propel myself into the future? So I agree with you where it's like, there's a level of like, just focus on the things that will give you passion. If you
100%.
If you are not thinking about it as work, it is never going to be work. It'll just be fun all the way through. The other aspect of it is I am so intrigued from this standpoint of like, a lot of us are sports fans. A lot of us have teams that we're passionate about or diehards about. I would love to understand why sports and being a fan makes you so A, ravenous, like you're into it so much, and B, can you think back on a time just before, starting to do the social media where it was just like passionate, fun thing of like, and then you were like, that conversation was like the aha moment.
I grew up in sports. My whole life, we had tickets to the D-backs for the first 2 years. Mm-hmm. Got rid of them. They won the World Series, and we always joked about it in our family that whenever we get rid of tickets now, they're going to win a championship the next year. We had Suns tickets during Steve Nash era. And then, so I grew up there. I can tell you there was a Christmas game. The Spurs hit a 3 to win it when we were there. And I was like, Spurs just ruined Christmas. And then when the Cardinals went on the Super Bowl run, I remember being at Buffalo Wild Wings when I was like 19, and they win the game versus the Packers, and I jump on a table, and I'm sober, so I'm 19. And we were just going, let's go Cardinals. And I got like the whole bar cheering. So I've always just been like, there's just been I've never played sports because I did other things that I shouldn't have done. But I've always been, sports has just been my thing. Like I've just
been in the forefront.
It's always been.
Did you play?
No, and I just got into things I shouldn't have done when I was a kid that people just shouldn't do. And I have a little bit more of a rough upbringing growing up. My mom was sick for almost my whole life.
Okay.
She got sick when I was in 3rd grade, and she was sick till she died when I was 25.
Wow.
And so high school was the worst 4 years of probably our life. My grandpa moved in. He was super sick. So my dad had to take care of my sick mom. I had to take care of my grandpa. So it was like, there was no time for sports. Yeah. We were blessed financially. Like everyone, I have a heart for people who don't have money, who don't have money to get food on the table at that time. Because that wasn't our problem. Our problem was just health.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have the like my dad did a great job as best as he could, but I didn't have parents there to high school to say, hey, your 1.7 GPA isn't good. Because my dad was always taking care of my mom. I was taking care of my grandpa, bringing home food. So like I never just played sports. Sports was just the thing for me to, game's on, let's check out. Let's watch this to get away from life.
Yeah, it was literally that. It was a getaway.
It was a getaway for me. And it's always been that way. It's just, it's always that, and it always brought me community. Something I love is just being around people and having something in common with them.
Yeah. And I appreciate you telling me, because again, I ask this question a lot of the times to our guests, and really for me, it's about, again, honing in on the beginning of the story, because to me, those are the roots of the 100%. Tree. And the fact that I can now look at you and say, man, that's just someone who's reaching out to connect. Like, whether it be through the sports or through the communion of like rooting and cheering on the team that you love. So I have mad respect, because this to me now turns into, that is someone who truly is in love with not just the sporting of it all, but again, it is a childhood refuge for him, for you.
Yeah, it's the only thing I knew growing up. So like just with everything being, with mom being sick, grandpa being sick, it's just like when we got away, what was at a game?
Exactly.
That's all. And it's like
exactly
when my mom was sick, that was like the one thing she still cared about was like Cardinals football. Like my mom's celebration of life, you were required to wear a Cardinals jersey or a red.
Hell yeah!
So it was just like a Cardinals tailgate that my pastor did. It was like, this is literally a tailgate. This is literally their family. Like, but that's just who I am. I've always been. It's just like, and that's like. That's why I love sports, and that's why I want to go into it one day, is because I have a passion for it, and you can't teach passion.
Nope.
A lot of Arizona sports people, which I love them all, like Vince Morano, they're all great guys, but like our biggest guy, Gambo, he's not even an Arizona guy. He's from like New York. And it's like, that's cool. He does a great job. He's incredible. He knows more people in the state than anybody. But it's like there's a market for real Arizona fans and media, and there's a massive market for it. Even like one of my friends, he covers the Suns, does a great job. He's a Dodgers fan. I don't want to follow him anymore, because it's just like, dude, I don't want to follow you and like, oh, it's Friday night, and he's like, yeah, Dodgers just hit a grand slam. I'm like, dude, like, that's just me though. I'm just all in on Arizona sports.
I get it.
I think that's also why my stuff has been thriving, is because people follow it for like, okay. Yeah, you're gonna get Arizona sports. I'm literally just Arizona sports.
That's all you're getting.
Like every once in a while, I'll throw a stupid tweet in about something else, but it's like it's Arizona sports, and it's not like I love my Cubs too. Like I'll root for them if the D-backs are out, but I don't really talk about that on my social media, because it's just like being true to myself is just Arizona sports.
Beautiful. I love that, because again, it goes back to this thing that I've it's hidden behind all of this talking in the podcast. The idea is like, I want people to listen and just relate and just 100%. Really like, hey, I want to work with him, or like, hey, I want to buy something off of him because I like him and he's got a great story. So now you brought up the idea of like, this state is kind of a melting pot of other state
100%.
People who come in and really transform themselves here. And I don't know if you've hit it a couple of times, but I don't know if you've recognized that aspect of it, of like, there's something great about this state where people can come in from the outside, wherever they're from, and just really endear themselves to the community here and allow them to like basically restart or start something new for themselves in a place like this where, to me, I feel like there's more people who want to cooperate with one another and work together rather than turn it into a pissing contest.
Yeah, I feel like there's this weird stigma in sports. When you move, you can't start rooting for the teams in that state. Mm-hmm. And I hate that stigma. Like, dude, like you moved to my state, you caused my housing to go up double. You caused all these things to go up crazy, but you are loyal to your team in another state. I get it. I moved here from another state, and I love my Cubs, but it's Arizona only.
Yep.
Like, I grew up watching Michael Jordan win 6 championships. And when I got here in 2003, I got here in 1995. When we got Suns tickets, we adopted the Suns. It's like, I get it. Some people, it's like, okay, you've been loyal to the team for 40 years. I'm not saying you need to be your first team, but like, if you move somewhere, adopt your teams, man.
Yeah.
Like,
or at least show interest, because again, here's the other factor of it. If you're living in a state where you're not originally from, and it's like you're never going to understand that community, because the sports, as far as we want to put it at an arm's length away for some people, the idea that camaraderie, togetherness, just a level of passion, love, intrigue, physicality, all these things melded together in a 3-hour event, or however long the sport is. It's like you can't stop that. On top of that, it affects your life on so many like traffic just to get to the stadiums it's like, if you don't know when the actual days are that they play at home, you are effed so hard if you're going downtown or going to near the stadium.
Yeah. It just really bugs me. Like, I don't know. It just, I get it. You stay loyal. I respect the loyalty, but it's just like.
Well, let's get more complicated, because now we're talking about loyalty, and I think it would lead really great into the conversation about our hockey team, or former hockey team. So I'll be the first to admit I'm not a big hockey fan, but I enjoyed going to the Coyotes when they were here. Now,
so that's a complicated issue.
I will put the gauntlet down. I hate that they're in Utah, and I hate the name.
The name is stupid. The logo's stupid. It looks like it was generated by AI.
I'm not holding back any punches. I agree with you 100%.
The issue here, though, is when you have an owner, or you had an owner who doesn't know what they're doing, and he's part of life in his ownership is making connections. Same thing with social media. It's networking. Yeah. A lot of the rooms I end up in, the videos I make, are not even because of the person, not even because of the athlete. It's because of the X, Y, and Z who introduced me to the athlete. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I run into a lot of people naturally, but I've got some big names coming that were introduced because of somebody. Yeah. When you're an owner, it's kind of like politics. Yeah. A lot of kissing babies, shaking hands.
I imagine.
And you have an owner who wasn't paying rent, wasn't paying bills.
Can you explain, like, pull that out, extrapolate that a little bit more, because people may not understand as far as the history of it all.
I don't have all the facts in front of me, but there's many times that reports came out that he wasn't paying rent, or he was behind on rent. There was bills out there that he wasn't paying. So when you have an owner that is similar to Sarver, that's really nitpicking cheapness, it's not going to work well.
Yeah.
And
was the Tempe Stadium, or was the vote for the Tempe Stadium the last straw that broke the camel's back?
No, that was Scottsdale. Some stuff happened in Scottsdale. They're supposed to do something in Scottsdale, north of Scottsdale, but it didn't get rezoned correctly, and it was just a disaster and fell apart.
Yeah.
I do think Tempe was what broke the camel's back, why they left. And I wish I had my platform now, because I think I could have got it to pass. I really do. The people I know now.
Do you know the voting offhand? Like how much?
No, I don't. But it was ran poorly. Yeah, there wasn't anybody behind it. There wasn't any.
There was no real campaign for it.
And that's what I mean.
Unless you were like a local news person, or like really was into the stadium vote or whatever it may be, but it's like it felt like it was just behind the scenes.
People didn't understand. People in Tempe didn't understand. And like that's one of my I know it's not my problem. But I do have a regret not getting more involved.
Yeah. Well, it's like again, when you have the moniker of your name.
Now I do. I didn't then though. That was the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when you have something that is so much like your identity, you look back at some of the decisions, you're like,
yeah,
I wish I could have made it a better effect, or I wish I could have did something if I had more time, or
I could have if it was now, because it happened in May, so last May. So if it happened now, May 2025, or the vote was actually, I think, so if it happened this January, I think I could have made a massive difference.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some people that are in my phone that control Arizona, and I could just make one phone call and get them on board, and we could.
You are the Sham, like the ESPN guy, the Sham guy. What's his name?
I'm not that big yet, but I do know.
But your phone is constantly.
I do know some people that are in politics that I could have probably got them on board.
Yeah, and
we could have made a difference, but I just didn't have the platform then. I didn't know the people, and it's frustrating. Mm-hmm. What's more frustrating is they're not coming back anytime soon.
Oh, I don't think that they could possibly, the fact that they moved all of that to Utah was a big endeavor in itself.
Yeah.
And now you're running more complicated because now you have a community that sees the new thing that's coming to their town. They want to probably keep it as much as
they're going to keep it. Yeah. We would have to get a new team.
Yeah.
And the NHL says the only way you're going to get a new team is you have a stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Ishbia's not going to let the Coyotes play in footprint. Mm-hmm. That's done. That's only good news is Ishbia's brother and Ishbia bought a major stake in the White Sox today with agreement to partner to eventually buy the full White Sox.
Wow.
So now that they have their baseball team, maybe Ishbia's mind and heart changes about a hockey team.
Why do you put that out there? Because I look at it as you're splitting two ends of your one team and another team, and then you're going to try and do a third team.
If you're in sports and you're already making a boatload of money from the Suns, and now you got a White Sox team that I think is 2034 is the latest they can go full ownership or majority ownership. So 9 years, but they have a process for the baseball team now. They're obviously doing well with the Suns. They're killing it. I mean, they're not running the team
but things are smooth.
They're doing enough for their own to want to buy another team.
Yeah.
So now they got another team. Now, if the D-backs leave, that's an issue. But the White Sox, then Ishbia could just move the White Sox here. So it's hypothetically, there is a backup plan now if the D-backs of Kendrick's we're moving, which MLB won't let them move. Yeah. I'm not even getting into that.
That doesn't seem like a conversation where
MLB will not let. MLB will have. I think the MLB would make Kendrick sell before they move. But get back to the point. Ishbia now has his baseball locked up. Mm-hmm. NFL is a whole nother animal. NFL would cost Ishbia almost so much money. I'm not saying he wouldn't do it, but the Cardinals alone would probably be $10 billion.
Yeah,
it's insane. NFL is just stupid money.
For those of you who don't also already know, Ishbia is a former telecommunications.
He's a mortgage guy. He owns a mortgage company.
Yes, that's what it was.
His dad, I'm pretty sure his dad started it and he inherited it. Mm-hmm. So him and his brother do a lot of business together. They bought they didn't own the White Sox. So the hope now would be Ishbia changes his mind and says, I can do hockey too now. That's our only hope, because you need somebody with not only the $1 billion to activate the team back, you need someone $2 billion to build an arena.
Ah.
So that's the pickle we're in, is Shane Doan's trying to put together a group. Great. Shane Doan doesn't have that type of money. Neither is Charles Barkley or Larry Fitzgerald names, or even J.J. Watt names that have been floated around. They don't have that type of money.
That's why I also put this as if you want to learn about buying or owning a sports franchise, I mean, there are already indicators out there. I mean, Boston just got bought out for one of the highest $1 billion ratings. And on top of that, it's those types of places, even their teams are group sales.
Yeah. So that's a lot of sports are going that way. Groups. So that's another reason why it's tough, because there's no, unless another out-of-state billionaire comes here and says, I want to build an entertainment district somewhere.
Yeah.
We're just till we get the stadium, unless, like I said, the only hope is really Ishbia, and I just don't see it happening. From everything I've been told, Ishbia's just not interested in hockey, and the hope is he just changes his mind. And because what he could do is just build an arena that hosts the Coyotes and the Suns, build his new arena because he doesn't like footprint already.
I didn't know that about him. I didn't know that he didn't like the arena.
He's changing everything about it to hopefully like it, but it just doesn't seem, from my opinion, doesn't seem he actually likes it, just because it's just, they're always trying to do something to it, and it's just, so it's one of the smallest arenas, and the guy who wants the money is going to want a bigger arena.
Yeah.
So they're going to be there for a while. I just don't think that's in my opinion. I just don't think he likes it.
But I mean, these are all important threads to pull out, because again, when you're a fan, it's those types of fandom that's like will help you understand, again, the day in and day out process, and also where you can go to find certain information.
It's similar to the D-backs of like how you make your money in sports as an owner is from VIP.
Yeah.
You make 80% of your money from 20% client base.
Huh.
So the Suns they have VIP, but they don't have a crazy amount of it. That's why they built a restaurant called Rah Rah Room. To bring another avenue of which they had over 150 members this year, it was like $2 million, over $2 million raised in membership fees alone.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they passed. I was told they passed 150 members this year. They did,
and it's
in their first year. It's $15,000 to get
15 grand.
So it was like $2 million in membership fees alone.
It's insane to me.
It's insane. That's
like
it's why they did that, because they need another avenue for VIP.
Yeah,
it's why the D-backs struggle making as much money as they could, because they have no VIP.
Yeah.
You go to the Suns game, you can spend $10,000 on VIP, get free drinks, sit courtside. The most expensive D-back ticket is about like $200. There's one section with like 12 or 20 tickets that come with all you can drink, all you can eat.
Okay.
And there's the all you can eat in the club, which is just not good. Skip it. I'm sorry, Derek Hall, if you ever see this, and you know I love you, just skip it. It's terrible. The food is just absolutely terrible. But they have one section called Commonwealth that has like a small buffet, and it comes all you can drink alcohol. That's it.
Yeah.
So when I call my friends who have the VIP at like ASUS Coaches Club, which is incredible. Yeah. Suns have Nexus Club, which is incredible. Cardinals have like 3 clubs now. Same thing. They all these clubs. When I call my friends and say, hey guys, D-backs have X, Y, Z tickets. Like, does it come with food? Does it come with drink? I'm like, no, they're like, we're good. So they're missing out on a huge revenue share. And that's why they're trying to get this bill passed, because that's another complicated issue on who should be paying for the repairs. But that's a big reason why, is because they're trying to create VIP to increase revenue, which should increase hopefully spending for the team.
Yeah. We're getting into the nitty gritty of how sports and sports entertainment kind of rely on the fans, or rely on what the financial backings are. So to me, that is always going to be a process of like give and take. You're always, as a fandom, you're either going to get a good ticket or not. You're going to pay a lot to get a good ticket or something like that. There's always a kind of back and forth when it comes to this sort of stuff. My hope overall is that, we get to go to the games, watch the games, have great sports moments. That's where my level of that's where I hope that the owners look at and kind of rely on that to be a kind of cornerstone to where they want to achieve and want to do. But overall, my appreciation for any of these teams is the fact that they care so. I've seen so many videos of they care so much about a lot of their fans, and they give back in so many ways. And I think that that's very beautiful, and I really enjoy that.
That's probably my favorite thing about the D-backs. Suns have their charities. Mm-hmm. I don't think they post that much about them, though.
Yeah.
The D-backs have an account called D-backs Give Back on Instagram, and they're always posting what they're doing. And that's what I love the most about D-backs, is that you can follow along better.
Yeah.
Not saying that other teams don't do it, don't do charity work, but D-backs, you can follow along better on what they're actually doing for the community. And they have I think 19 baseball fields they've opened for kids to play baseball.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
So D-backs are always doing cool things. It's really cool.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you some stardom.
Gosh.
you brought it up. You got the phone, you've got the clicks, everyone. Like, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you certain things about people you've met along the way.
All right, go for it.
And have you met Charles Barkley yet?
Barkley, I'm still trying to track down. I know he lives in my general area.
Okay.
I don't stalk people, but I just know.
But it's like, this is why I'm asking.
I've been in the same community my whole life, 5-mile radius. So I know people everywhere.
Yeah,
and I know the Safeway he shops. I know he goes to the sports book by my house.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things I'll probably run into Barkley soon.
It's just a matter of time.
It's just a matter of time. Yeah. I've always had a weird niche. I've always run into famous people everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So I've just learned to monetize it now. Yeah. But I think Barkley,
I'll admit, you mean the places that you record, especially like some of them look like they're just like walking back to a building or something like that. Like the ASU coach.
Kenny.
Kenny. So this was
going to
story. Yeah. Tell me about Kenny. But before you get into Kenny, to give me one of your favorite coaches moment, like out of all the sports team, because I feel like having a dialogue with a coach is like interesting.
I think it's Kenny because so Kenny, I wanted to get him early on. It's all met a basketball game. So I went up to him, said, "Hey, Kenny, what's your favorite place to eat?" He's like, "Oh, I can't answer that, blah, 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 blah."
That was so funny. He was like being so politically like,
he was like, I can't answer that. I do food swaps. I don't want to make I'm like, okay, whatever. Nice to meet you, man. So then I was like, okay, how am I going to get him? So one of the things I talked about earlier is you got to have backup questions. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting at home and Kenny's like, tweets out, In-N-Out is better than Whataburger. Don't debate me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask him this. So after an ASU basketball game, he's talking to people and whatnot. So I was sitting outside waiting for him and he walks by. I'm like, Kenny, I know you won't tell me your favorite restaurant. I edited that part out. It's like In-N-Out or Whataburger. And he's like, oh, I can't answer that. I'm like, Kenny, you won't give me your restaurant. You're not going to answer this, bro. Give me a bone. And he's like, all right, fine, man. And he answers it, does okay views. And then like a few weeks later, I'm running him again. And he's like, we did okay on our videos. Like, you know who I am now?
I love it. It's like, we did okay.
I was like, first it's we now. Like, you're right. Like, I've been begging you for stuff. And he's like, and we're just having a full-on conversation. I was like, can we do like something with the NIL? He's like, yeah, maybe next year for like Sam, we can do an NIL burrito or promote that. And then a few weeks later, I forget where I was at. I saw him somewhere again. Oh, I saw him at Pat Tillman. He said hi to me. I was talking to Graham Rossini, the AD, who's become like a good friend of mine.
Oh, that's good.
He texted me the other day about some stuff. It was really cool. But I was talking to Graham and Kenny's like, you're literally everywhere. And then I was at ASU's open practice and I was going up to the Legends Club and Kenny's like, the everywhere guy, there you are. I'm like, you know I have a name?
Yeah.
Like it's Nathan, Mr. AC Sports, but I'll take everywhere guy. Like I have a nickname with Kenny Dillingham.
That's awesome.
That is...
And there's something about his energy. Like he could call you the everywhere guy, and you're okay with it.
Him and Derek Hall are two guys that I'm just like, whenever I'm with him, like, can we just keep hanging out, please?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to convince Derek Hall to take me out to dinner because there's a restaurant he's a member of that you can't get into unless you pay $100,000. You can't record in it anyways. They told me I can't record, but I just want to go to it now just to go to it. So I'm going to convince Derek Hall. I've already told Derek Hall he's going to take me there. He hasn't agreed to it yet.
You know what? It's like that sort of stuff was just so boggling to me because I have nervous energy and I'm just like, anytime I go, like I have friends who like, they invite me places or like, I'm just so like I'm just so balled up into like all this energy. I'm like, I either will talk too much or I will mess something up or there will be a mix or like I'll make an accident happen where it's like I trip and something knocks over or something like that.
I've learned with life that people are going to come into your life. They're going to leave your life. And I've stopped. I've made relationships with some players that, or some people in the world. A few months later, they don't want to hear from me. It just is what it is. Yeah, that's just life these days. And I think that's what's fun about social media. It's a very turn and burn.
Yeah.
Some relationships I'm going to make are going to stay. Some relationships, we'll grow apart. And so when I'm in those rooms, I'm just like, I just enjoy it because it's just like I said, like I want it. Like there's someone in the world that is not the biggest fan of me anymore, who's in the sports world. I'm not going to name whom out of respect. who I thought we were going to become friends.
Yeah.
Whatever. So they're not a big fan anymore. No big deal. But then like Graham Rossini saw my interview and he literally texted me. He's like, hey man, this interview turned out great. I'm glad to call you a friend. I'm like, okay.
It's beautiful.
That's one, Graham's an incredible guy. We watched so many ASU stuff together, ASU baseball, basketball. I really do consider him a friend if I ever need someone to call him. But it's like, that's where I've just learned that embrace the moment because you don't know who's actually going to get into your life.
Absolutely.
Because, like I said, I never thought Graham would be a friend. So for me, it's just more of like, I just enjoy it. I just always sit there. Sometimes I'm like, how did my dumb butt end up in this room?
Well, I'll be honest with you too. It's like if you're a fan of us, we haven't had sports people like that many. Like
for sure,
we have had outside like of sports, so like maybe a news broadcaster or something like that. But we've never had an athlete on per se, and. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I feel like time with them is very like, their free time is very, few and far between. And I want to respect that. I will always accept everyone who comes in. I just know that if we've had a sports athlete, I would do, I know I have confidence I would do really well in the interview because I am very much of like, once someone says yes to me, I am very much their fan and like I will
for sure
do what I can to make them look great.
I think what the biggest realization for me was realizing, sounds really corny, but they're just normal dudes.
Yeah.
There's been a few that I'm like, all right, man, whatever, man. Which I don't care. I'm like, whatever, dude. Not gonna become friends with everybody. But most of them are just normal dudes.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I've talked to Tyus Jones probably 10 times. Actually, when I got his interview, it's like, Tyus, where do you like to eat? He's like, I watch your stuff. I was like, you don't follow me. Why do you watch my stuff? And so he tells me he just says raw room. I was like, whatever, I'll make another raw room. I'll go back there and force my hand.
Force my hand.
I'll go back to raw room. And then I followed him. We've DM'd each other. Then I saw him at Larry Fitzgerald's event. Went up and said hi. And just normal dude. And that's what I think the biggest realization for me was when you break out, like, yes, I'm a diehard fan of it too, of all the sports. But when you learn how to just be normal, and it's like, I don't want it. Oh, okay, I do want something from every athlete. I want their restaurant. Yeah. But I'm not going to these guys for money or anything like that. Yeah. And I think that's what they realize is I'm just like, I want to start a series where I go to dinner with people. Like I'm trying to work out a dinner with Gonzo and we maybe talk 20 seconds about something in the food. Sure. I think that'd be a fun series, having dinner with athletes around the state. But when you just take a step back and you realize most of these guys are normal dudes, but they just don't know who they can trust. Yeah. And who they can talk to. Absolutely. And who they can even hang out with without it going all over the internet. Yeah. Once you realize that, like, yes, sometimes they tell me stuff that I'm like, okay, I can't put that out. Yeah. Sometimes like, okay, I can put that out. Well, like, you just realize they're normal dudes. Like, I've also become friends with like Alec Thomas's family. Not Alec Thomas. I don't think Alec knows who I am, but like his brother, his dad was coaching me how to throw the pitch for the first pitch. Wow. Like Alec Thomas's wife follows me. I've watched a few games with her. Like, great. I become friends with the family, and you realize they're just all normal dudes. Yeah. It's the people who are belittling the athletes, talking trash about them on the internet, wanting all the autographs and all this. That's where they're like, it seems like those people don't want to be around those people. But if you're just a normal dude, like, they don't care. They just want to hang out, have fun, eat good food. Can I make a suggestion, or at least give you an idea of like, because I'm hearing you like wanting to put out into the world like this idea of some kind of food-based interview style question answer, show. I love the fact that you have this kind of like sports narrowization of like niche area, for sure, so to speak. What I think we could do it even like nicher. Like something has to give where it's like you point it and you kind of narrow it to the point where it's like no one else is doing it. No one's like come close to it. Whether it's like, I don't know what it is, but when you do figure it out, I would love to kind of like come in and sit down with you or like figure it out. It's one of those things that's, I am very methodical in everything I do now with social media. I'm actually a really fast-paced guy, move really quick at things. Yeah. But like with my social media stuff, I've really taken a step back and slowed down to really make sure I do things right. Like my videos take like 3 hours to make.
Yeah.
So like I've really just taken a step back, and I was just like, I have a mentor who's been in my life for like 10 years. And I told him like that idea, and he's like, dude, you're like the perfect guy for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, you're just a normal dude that just likes to eat and drink a beer. I'm like, you're right. Those are my two kryptonite. But like, I just think it'd be cool to like, told Gonzo said we're going to have dinner with me. I didn't ask if we could do a video yet.
Yeah.
That's, I didn't open that part. Gonzo will become a friend too. But I want to ask him like, hey, we should do like a 30-second interview eating dinner, like asking a silly question, because they do all these news interviews and radio interviews. I'm like, why don't we do an interview over food? That's way more entertaining than some radio interview with a podcast guy who doesn't even care.
Yeah. Because I'll just kind of end it here, because this is something that I watch for myself, is like, literally it was, it's called The Last Meal. And essentially he just interviews them. He asked them prior to the interview, what would you like for your last meal? Like if you were given a last, and he basically just goes into like their life and just picks out certain elements and like talks about life and how they've progressed along in their career, and just kind of like, do they ever think about death and like what that means to them and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
That's something that you can kind of like look up yourself and kind of pick out and take out stuff from it. This is kind of coming to the conclusion of our conversation. The fact that you are doing so many things and are in the process of really churning out a lot more. Is there something that our guests or our listeners can help you out with for maybe either next year or the upcoming anything that you have goal-wise?
Oh, that's a really good question. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, whatever you manifest, I'm a God guy. Honestly, just prayer for me to just figure it out. Like, I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
And I think that makes me so restless too, is like, I want to do, I think my food stuff's great. My list of how many people I'm interviewing is great and everything. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's just another part, another step. It was the same thing when I started doing 150 games. I do 150 games, then it's turned into where I want to eat. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what that next step is. I think the next step could be where things actually really take off too. Like, things have taken off, but like, whether it's a show or something, I don't know. I just think there's another thing I'm doing enough, but I think I could be doing more.
You know what I would love to see? And I just thought about it now, is this long series where it's you, because you already have some of the content, you learning some really beautiful Arizona dishes from like either the chefs of the stadium or something else. That's just the learning part. Yeah. Then you take it further and it's like, hey, join me tomorrow or next week, and I'm going to make this dish for A, B, and C. Yeah,
cooking's probably never going to be my cup of tea. I'm not the best cook.
Hey,
and that's why I like to eat out. I am doing something with 3 Pieces Pecan. Do you guys know them?
No.
Chance Cosby, Head Thunderbird, has like 1.5 million over social media. He's like the best cooking of Arizona. We're doing something together next month because I have an athlete who said private chef again, like Kevin Durant did.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a pivot question because I just didn't know. So I was like, what can I do with that? Oh, we can cook the meal with a private chef.
There you go.
So yeah, I just think for me, I just got to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things of, there's a story, which I don't even know if it's true. It was a clip, and it really made me think about this person said this athlete was swimming from San Fran to like, there's an island there. It was like 12-mile Catalina or something.
Yeah, something like
Someone
that.
was swimming to Catalina. It was like 12-mile swim, and there was whatever miles. And they're supposed to be, they're trying to break a record, and they got like 80% there, and then it got cloudy, and they couldn't see the finish line anymore. And they got like 90% there, and they just gave up. And then they got on the boat, and the island was right there. And she was so discouraged because she was like, I was 90% done. I just couldn't finish.
Yeah.
So she did it again. This time she brought like some GPS on her watch so that she could see the finish line. And then she got there and be able to finish it. And she broke her own record.
Wow.
So for me, it's one of the things that like, I just got to keep my eyes on where I want to go.
Yeah.
Not give up, because consistency is not about just showing up and not about just doing it. Consistency is all about just showing up. Some days are going to be 100%. Some days are going to be 50%. So for me, it's like, I'm just razor focused on what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I think I need to figure out what can I do to take it to the next level? Because like I got all this food stuff, all this content going great, but it's like, if I want to be the biggest name of Arizona sports, like nationwide, I need to do more.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that more is from getting me. I'm very known locally, which is awesome. People come up to me, ask pictures. I love it. It's cool. I have beers with people all the time. That I'm like, this is crazy. Like we met at a game. We're about having a beer now. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But what's the step to get out of Arizona to go national?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is like, because like Pat McAfee, love that guy.
Yeah.
He quit football to start his own show and is not as big as the state of sports.
Yeah.
I want to do something like that, but I just don't know how to get there yet. Yeah. So that's more me just trying to, if people got advice, send me a DM. I try to read every single DM. Might not get back to you if I'm whatever.
Yeah.
But I try to read every DM. But for me, it's more just trying to stay focused on the finish line, not giving up and quitting right before I get there. Because I don't know what that finish line is.
Yeah. I like that because we ourselves live by the moniker of like, just get 1% better every day.
That's my quote, man. That's literally my quote is just get 1% better every day. Mr. Beast says it all the time is make 100 videos and get 1% better on every video.
Exactly.
After 100 videos, you'll be 100% better.
Exactly.
And then start asking for feedback. So it's one of those things of, I've been blessed too. Like I've had random people hit me up who since I started, I've had a social media coach for free.
That's awesome.
Like, and that's just a guy who DM'd me. He's like, I love what you're doing. Here's X, Y, and Z tips. So I've been blessed in those routes. And I think that's something that I'm trying to figure out. It's like trying to find a mentor in that space who maybe has built a show, knows how to start a show, knows what to do. Like what you guys have to set here is cool. I need to do something like this. I don't have something like this. I've created a small set, but like your guys' lighting alone is 20 times better than any lighting I have. So it's like, got to figure out all those things. I don't know how to do it. And then also I don't know how to even launch the right type of show these days. That's entertaining. Yeah. And I realized a lot of shows you need a second host. It's hard to do a show by yourself.
Or a multiple host if you look at the Barstool guys or or Pat.
It's hard to do something by yourself. Yeah. So then there's another things like, can I figure it out by myself? So it's one of those things of the definition of insanity is what I live by too.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to rant it, but definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So for me, I'm always trying something new to see what fits and what doesn't fit. So for me, it's just like trying to figure out what's next because it's like, I don't want to just be Arizona. Like I love Arizona and I want it always to be all about Arizona. But I want to bring, like, I look at Dave Portnoy. Are you Dave Portnoy guy?
Yeah.
He's a Boston guy.
Yeah, he's a Boston guy.
When you hear his name, you think Boston.
Well, I think that's also the other level of it because Dave is Dave and he has all his subsidiaries, his Substacks. But then you have the bigger entity of Barstool.
100%.
And that it says in itself is a mammoth. And so, I don't know. I mean, to me, I absolutely agree. The idea of being, because we get this, like, oh, why did you choose like to just do Arizona? Isn't that just going to put you in a box? I'm like, no, this place changes every day.
100%.
And so that to me, I was like, I want it to be about this, but I also want it to be about the evolution of this.
And a lot of people may not live here, but they have cottages here.
Or a family member.
Family here.
Yeah.
So that's like, when I look at Dave Portnoy, I was like, Boston. That's why I just want people to see, like, I want someone in New York, Mr. AZ Sports. Oh, that's Mr. AZ Sports. AZ guy. And that's what I'm trying to figure out is how do I now try to go into the limelight of Dave Portnoy level? Not like the controversial stuff, not like
just recognition.
Just the recognition of, okay, Dave Portnoy, Barstool, Boston. How do I get it to be like Nathan Kropp or Mr. AZ Sports, AZ, and people in New York know who I am. How do I get us that level? Because if I can get us, I really think there's a market for it. If I can get Arizona sports onto the map, I think our teams start playing better. We have better owners.
Yeah.
We get ownership who wants to spend more. I think if we have better media, we have owners that want to spend more. We have players who want to come here.
Yep.
I think there's an opportunity there. I'm not saying our media is absolutely terrible, but there's an opportunity that's untapped potential, and I want it. I just don't know how to take it yet.
Yeah.
It was the same way like how I became the face of it, fan Arizona sports people says. It was an opportunity. Yeah. We had no faces.
Yeah.
So I wanted it, and I grabbed it. Now it's like, how do you take it from statewide to nationalized?
Yeah. there's the levels to this game that I'm still learning.
I'm trying to do this, bro.
And yeah, no, I get it, because there's, I want so much for Arizona to continue forward with like a bigger name, more recognition.
100%.
And we're getting there. I think, but the fact that I met you and that I know a little bit more about you, and honestly, I think you're a great guy. I think you have this level of connection to the thing that you are passionate about. That's the same thing I am with this and the people that I meet. You're included in that. So I appreciate you.
Yeah. Can't teach passion.
Yeah, absolutely. So now is the chance for you to let everyone know where they can find you online. If they don't already know the name, please let them know the name one last time.
At Mr. MR Sports. Mr. AZ Sports. Nothing else. No Mr. AZ Sports guy. Mr. Arizona. It's Mr. AZ Sports. A lot of people just call me Mr. AZ or AZ, but Mr. AZ Sports. Every platform besides Facebook. I'm sorry if you still use Facebook. I'm not on it. Or Blue Sky, whatever it is. I'm on everything else. I'm hopefully hit 100K by the end of the year is my goal across everything.
Awesome. So. And before you guys leave us, you can hear every episode of our podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. Social media wise, Finding Arizona Podcast under everything. And last but not least, we say kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for having me, guys.